depth of evil that a human being could sink to not only kill and murder and plunder and celebrate the annihilation of the Jewish people, but to take their hair, look at their gold teeth, even after they are dead, debase their bodies and search for valuables, and then market them for profit. I have read enough history in my life. I don't know if in all of human history we've gone to a lower level than this. Great massacres have taken place, but they've been at war, invading armies. These were citizens of their own country, picked out as a race, as a religion, with the object to eliminate them. I mean, and we read about Auschwitz and we read about the Holocaust, but to be there and to be with a survivor and to hear him say, Max is saying, this is where I was in, this is the place where I used to work. And look at the horror people have gone to. And today we have such people like Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. I wish I could take the man, catch him by his beard and drag him to Auschwitz and say, look at it. See for yourself. And the ugliness of Holocaust denial. We seem to take it lightly sometimes that, well, it's an idiot who's saying something, but can you imagine the effect it has on people who not only look away from this catastrophe, but then doubt the survivors' stories and say they're lying?
Tarek, I'm going to have to interject here and say that it's refreshing hearing you say this, and it's also refreshing to hear you come out as the founder of the Muslim Canadian Congress, because what we see happening by and large in the world today is some division happening because of radical elements which you have obviously fought against yourself. And you did mention Ahmadinejad, and I'm curious, Tarek, to hear, when you look at people like that, do you believe, because you've insinuated somewhat, that that spirit that existed in the Holocaust is still alive and well today?
Well, it is in a different way. It has morphed into a different sort of anti-Semitism, which has taken everything ugly from Europe and meshed it around a new form, which I call Muslim anti-Semitism. And I think it is the responsibility today of Muslim leaders or politicians and academics and writers and singers and artists to say, not in my name, you can't do that. You can't bring about all that back and now give it a fresh polish and relaunch it as a new package, We're not going to stand for it. And I can tell you that millions of people, ordinary Muslims, are outraged at what these guys are doing. You go to Iran and people would like to get rid of these Ahmadinejad and his mullahs. You go to Saudi Arabia, people are fed up with hatred against Jews that is quite separate from the disputes that people have with Israel or the Palestinian issue. It has morphed into an evil, and my fear is there is not enough understanding as to how to fight this new phenomena. We can't bomb ideas. We need to challenge them, expose.
Tarek, you're bringing up an excellent point, because hatred is stoked through indoctrinations, brainwashing, and Avi, your work is cut out for you. As the CEO of this wonderful organization, you organized this trip. And once again, Tarek Fatah, Chief Bill Blair, and of course, Eisen all went along on this particular trip. But given what you just heard, I mean, it was a lot that we've covered so far. Your work's cut out for you, Avi.
Yes, and first of all, I was blessed to travel with such distinguished individuals,
yes.
and people like Tarek and Chief Bill Blair and Max, added so much, and what they've said exactly resonates with what I can say to you. And sitting here and listening to it and seeing how it's impacted, delivered exactly the results that I wanted to see. Just a further understanding. You know, we have, and I want to build on what Tarek said, because he's absolutely correct, I think, in the sense that many people in the Muslim world are outraged by this. We want to see more of that come out into the open, but we're very concerned that we're still seeing a lot of symbolism within the Arab world concerning the Holocaust. For example, the protocols of the Elders of Zion in some Arab countries are bestsellers still today. Mm-hmm. And this is a book that was used and is still being used to propagate anti-Semitism. Ahmadinejad has held now a Holocaust denial conference in Iran. He's had Holocaust denial cartoon contests in Iran. You know, and these are still things that are propagated in those parts of the world, and it's recycled material, as Tarek has said, which is of concern. And so we have to look at the Holocaust, and we have to bring more of these leaders, more of these human rights officials to Poland in order to educate them and let them see for themselves the consequence of hate and intolerance.
Avi, this had an effect on you too, this particular trip. Tell us about it.
Well, it did, and speaking on a personal level,
yes,
it was my first time, and you know, you would think, someone who does this, but I've studied the Holocaust. I've thought greatly about it. In fact, when I was just in university, Max Eisen was the first Holocaust survivor that I interviewed, and it's interesting how things kind of come around. And so I said, you know what? I know it. Is this going to change my opinion going to visit Auschwitz? And in fact, it did. And you know, as the chief said, you know, there's nothing like being there and witnessing it for yourself and seeing and standing beside the barracks and having the perspective of a Holocaust survivor telling you the process. And so it still resonated with me. And one image that I still keep in mind is this shoe that was red, sitting in the bulk of thousands of shoes that were taken and piled, and this red shoe must have been, you know, it was a woman's shoe, and she must have packed it thinking that she's going to use it for a social occasion, you know, that she may have a dinner and dance party wherever she's going. She didn't know. That's why she packed a beautiful red shoe, and it was sitting there just saying, look at me. I was here. I was alive once. I went to balls and dances and dinners, and I was a person, and it just stood there and that image, I can't get that image out of my mind.
Wow. Well, we're certainly covering a lot of ground today, as I said, and what we're going to have to do now is we're going to go for a break. Once again, our lines are open. We'd love to hear from you. After we come back, we're going to be showing you some pictures from that trip. Don't go away. I don't think Tarek can hear me. Okay, he can hear me. Tarek, I want to thank you so much for contributing today. You've really set a lot of groundwork that we'll be referring to for the rest of the show. I want to thank you so much, and you have a great one, okay? No, I can't hear Tarek.